If you're looking for a decadently delicious side dish, then this corn casserole is for you. It goes with just about everything and it's beyond easy. Hey, you're watching Preppy Kitchen, where I, John Cannell, teach you how to make delicious homemade dishes to share with your family and friends. This corn casserole will be ready before you know it, so let's get started. First of all, we have some prep work to do. So you're gonna want 5 cups or 750 grams, more or less, of corn kernels. You can use frozen corn, but if you're gonna do that, you wanna take 2 cups and pat it dry. I'm using a little bit of frozen corn and a little bit of fresh corn because that's what I have on hand. I'm gonna save the fresh corn for the toasting part. Now I'm remembering all those viral videos that show you how to do this without making a mess. It's like supposed to be done in some kind of a bowl. You can let me know in the comments if you remember what the trick is. This dish is a really beautiful way to celebrate just like summer sweet corn in a really easy way, or to have a kiss of summer on your table, even if it's winter with the frozen corn. Corral your corn back onto the cutting board and it's on to the next step. I'm pawing at it like a cat. What am I doing? Before we get to cooking, we have a little bit more prep. Dice about 2 small onions. You want to have 1.5 cups-ish. This dish is really forgiving, so you can err on the side of generosity or being a miser when it comes to the garlic and the onion, as well as the corn and the cheese. I'm not a speed chopper, but I find that doing a little assembly line really helps things out. So when I'm chopping, I like to slice my onions, keep them together, and just cut the other way. Okay, that's 1.5 cups. Normally I'll go crazy and just like triple the recipe, but I'm gonna follow it to the blog. Last thing we have to do is mince 2 cloves of garlic. So of course that means I'm gonna mince 3 giant cloves of garlic. I also like to give my garlic a bit of a press before I cut it. It helps release the skin and the oils. Now let's give it a quick mince. I love garlic so much, but it really annoys me that it's so sticky when you cut it. That's enough prep work for now. I have a little bit of cheese to grate, but we're gonna do that while the corn is toasting. So into a large pot, or preferably a Dutch oven, we're gonna melt 2 tablespoons of butter and place it over medium heat. Once your butter's melted, go ahead and add 2 cups of corn, and we're gonna toast this. So spread it out, careful. And we're gonna cook this for almost 8 minutes. Take a look, you want it to kind of toast and caramelize, don't move it around too much. It's almost like you're searing something, but it's not gonna get that burnt. While that's toasting, let's shred our cheese. I'm using 1.5 cups or about 230 grams of gruyere. If you can't find it or don't feel like buying it, go ahead and use Swiss cheese. That'll work perfectly as well. If you hear that popping, you can go ahead and do a little bit of moving around, just to get them cooking on both sides of it. It's ready. Okay, remove it from heat. My corn is toasted, nice and steamy. And we're gonna set this aside. You can add it to a plate or a bowl. I wanted to get some color on this, and also it adds a depth of flavor by caramelizing it. After you've transferred the corn out of that pot, go ahead and add another 2 tablespoons of butter. Move it around. We're gonna place it back onto medium heat. Let the butter melt, and by the way, if you wanted to, you could totally use a different lubricant for this. It could be olive oil or vegetable oil as well. Now we're gonna add in our onion and garlic. In you go. And we're gonna cook until softened, which will be about 5 minutes, but you know, give or take depending on the size of your pieces, your stove, and your vessel. All those brown bits are gonna get melted and stirred in and really add a lot of flavor. So don't worry if you see some like burnt parts in the bottom of your Dutch oven, it's supposed to be like that. Between stirring, you can either zone out on your phone or do a little bit more prep, and that's just to crack your 8 eggs into a bowl and give them a little bit of a stir. Whenever I'm cavalier with an egg, something bad happens, and I never learn my lesson. You just break the eggs up and give them a little bit of a stir. Now we're ready. Also have 2 tablespoons of flour because we're gonna be adding that in very soon. Once your onions are softened up, let's add in the remaining 2 tablespoons of butter, plop it in, and just let it melt so you can move it around a bit. Once that butter's melted, add 2 tablespoons of flour in, so just sprinkle it over the onions. And we're gonna stir it in and cook for about 2 minutes. This will thicken up everything and hold it together. I have to tell you, like for my personal cooking, I'm an onion-aholic. I always add so much onions and garlic to it. It's all of my favorite like comfort food things to eat. Caramelized onion mac and cheese. Okay, After about 2 minutes, it's time to add in 3 cups of milk and just mix it really well. And the 3rd cup too. Mix, 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 and then let's remove it from heat. I'm using 2 tablespoons of fresh thyme leaves, so just strip those off, and that's it. No need to chop. As soon as your mixture comes off heat, it's time to add in all of the corn. In you go. So remember, we have our toasted corn as well as our raw corn. 2 teaspoons of salt. In you go, and you can add more or use less if you're sensitive. 1 teaspoon of pepper. This is white pepper, which is like black pepper, but it's invisible for people who don't like pepper, but you want to put it in there anyways. And then 2 tablespoons of that fresh thyme. The last thing we're going to do is add 1 cup of the shredded cheese. Reserve half a cup for the very end. Okay, stir it all in. You know, like distribute the cheese, all the salt, the pepper. You want to have everything be kind of homogeneous, although it's more of a composite mixture. After it's stirred up, set it aside for about 10 minutes. This needs to cool a bit before we add our eggs in. If you dumped them in now, they might become a little bit scrambled and hard, and we want more of like a soft, silky, delicious mouthfeel situation. So 10 minutes and we'll come right back. Let's dump this into a 9 by 13 inch baking dish. Now top your casserole with the remaining 1/2 cup of cheese. And now we're gonna bake this at 350 for about 45 minutes or until it's set and the top is a nice golden color. If you think it's getting too much color, you can go ahead and just cover it in foil after maybe like 25 minutes or so. This is totally gonna be part of our dinner tonight, but I'm having a little bit for you. And before I take a bite, if you like this recipe, check out my side dish playlist, all my favorite side dishes in one playlist for you. But now it's time for a bite. So much corn, cheese, and just plain amazingness. That was so delicious. I love how the cheese, the fresh thyme, and the corn all come together in this amazing dish. Oh, it's so good. I really hope you get a chance to make this recipe. And if you like my videos, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next side dish video.